Michael, clearly not the result you would have wanted. What's the verdict after that, though?
Probably give ourselves too much to do. In that first half, clearly major disappointment to concede as early as what we did in the manner that we did. They're sort of the type of goals that are really difficult for managers and coaches up and down the country to stomach in a way. 3 headers in your box which lead to tap-ins, especially 4 minutes in or whatever it is. So that was difficult. And then obviously the second goal was a poor one in terms of allowing to get the shot off the edge of the box. A little bit of luck from their part going through people's legs. And obviously I thought it was a half decent save, to be fair, but they got one player in that area at that time where we've got 3 or 4 players, and yet their player was able to stab it home. So massive frustrations at half time, and I think rightly so, in terms of they were the only 2 moments that they had in our box. I think the stats back that up, but it doesn't matter about stats. Ultimately you've got to go and do it. But then I got the response that I wanted in the second half. Wasn't pretty, wasn't what you would normally see from one of my sides, but it was quite effective in the second half. We made the keeper make numerous saves, which is a good thing. Kept going to the end. Won a lot more first and second balls in the second half that give us ourselves a chance to perform much better. So, just give ourselves too much to do against a very experienced team.
What was the message at half time?
Well, it wasn't a nice message, I can assure you of that. I just wanted us to be more aggressive, be on the front foot, win more second balls, make sure that we're positive, don't come away from the press. We were too passive in that first half, and just take more risks. I thought we took more risks in the second half. There was a little bit of a fear factor in that first half, I think. Players not wanting to get on the ball or taking the ball, and we certainly did that better in the second half, but it wasn't enough. You
made a change at half-time as well. George Lloyd coming on for Bradley Hiovio. Was there an injury there for Bradley, or just selection?
Just selection, yeah. Just tactical, really, more than anything. Just felt we needed more of a physical presence on the top line, and to be fair to Lloyd, I thought he'd give us that today. I've been critical at times, of what I want and certainly want and need from certain players in the group, but I've got to say he come on and give us that physical presence that we needed.
And Shuxon AK came on, his home debut. You spoke about the impact he can have off the bench, how much you respect him in that regard, and he certainly did have an impact. Lovely goal.
Yeah, great for him, great for his confidence. Probably more importantly, he got more minutes on the pitch again, an extension to what he got last week. He's had an extra week's training under his belt. Hopefully he can do the same again next week, and maybe feature even more so. But listen, I've seen him do that many a time, and I know what he's capable of, and he's got a great knack of sort of being in the right place at the right time, certainly later in games, and he's going to have to do that if we're going to sort ourselves out and get ourselves out of this position.
And so Nerdy made it 2-2 late on, a great save from Craig McGillivray, the visiting goalkeeper. Do you think you deserve something overall on the overall balance of play?
Well, the stats tell us we do, but I don't want to be someone sort of stood here every single week talking about stats, but they do. They back up that we probably should have got something from the game, but ultimately it doesn't matter. The reality is, again, if you don't score the first goal, you give yourself a problem, and we haven't done that all season. So that's something that we can do, and if we do score the first one, we give ourselves a brilliant chance. And I think if we did get it, I think we'd go on to win a lot more games. So that's something that we can improve on, and obviously not conceding a second, making sure that you're only a goal behind if you do concede. Sometimes the opposition might score from 40 yards, stanchion, do nothing about it, but don't concede again. Make sure you're always in the game, and to sort of concede that second in the manner that we did, give them a little bit of foothold in that second half and something to hang on to. And even if you get back into the game like we did, and we did quite well, they still had something to hold on to.
And you spoke about it briefly before the game. You just felt the time was right to change things around in the goalkeeping department and put Will Brook in today.
Yeah, I thought Will was good. I thought he was all right. No fault to the goals. Like I say, I thought the second one, even though it sort of fell down and Hogan's got his goal, I just thought it was a half decent save. It's gone through Sam Clucas's legs. Will just needed a little bit more help from his defenders to sort of get him out of a bit of trouble once he parried the ball.
Competition, isn't there, for that number one spot now with Will and Eli Harrison, the sort of competition you want all over the squad, I'm sure.
No, absolutely. Listen, like I say, we wanted to take Eli out of the firing line a little bit. He's had a difficult few games, and Will's come in today and done himself no harm whatsoever. So, like the opportunity for them to impress this week and try and get the shirt for next week.
It is ultimately all about results. The table doesn't look great, does it, tonight, Michael? 5 points on the board from 10 games. What are your thoughts when you reflect on these opening 10 games of the campaign?
Yeah, just disappointment and frustration. There's nothing more to it than that. There's been certainly, games where I felt we've really deserved to lose the game and been disappointed from that point of view, but in a lot of the games as well, certainly in the last sort of 5 games, I think we've been more than competitive and more than worthy of a lot more points than we've got on the board at this moment in time. But words are words. I can stay here and talk to you for an hour about this, that, and the reasons why. Ultimately, we have to stop talking and get doing, really, and that's my message to the players.
Do you feel you can turn this around, this difficult run of results?
I think the way the lads shown and were capable of pinning back a very experienced group in the second half pretty much gives me the confidence to know that is they're more than capable of doing that. I think there's enough in that dressing room to start winning games and pulling ourselves away from the position that we're at. And hopefully you get the opportunity to do that. If you don't, that's life.
And goes without saying, you need the home form to pick up considerably, don't you? It's been such a long wait now for the supporters to have a home win. We're talking about the start of February since they last went home with 3 points to celebrate.
Yeah, but again, without repeating myself over and over and over and over and over again, we have had moments in those games where opportunities, taking that first goal, that first chance, is absolutely crucial to everything that you do. And even if you don't, keeping a clean sheet obviously gives you even better chance of going on to win the game. So to concede after 4 minutes, it just really sort of kicks that can down the street a little bit. And we've got to make sure that we're a little bit more sort of resolute and be a little bit more harder to beat when it comes to crucial moments in the game. And if we do that, obviously you give yourself a chance.
How are you bearing up? How are you finding the whole situation? Eyes are always going to be on the manager, the head coach, when results aren't going as well as anybody would have liked. How are you? You always seem so measured and so composed when you come out to speak to us after games. So how are you handling the whole situation? Yeah,
listen, it's my job to be like that. Obviously, from an emotional point of view, I let my emotions felt at half time before the game. Every single day on the training pitch, that's what I enjoy, that's what I love. The players know how I feel about certain things, but look, when I'm in front of you guys, etc., I have to make sure that not necessarily being measured, just being honest. I'm not going to shy away from anything or a performance or results. I'm standing here knowing that the reality is, we need to win more games, and if we don't, I know what happens. I've managed plenty of games in plenty of football clubs, so every now and again you need a little bit of help from the people who cross the white line, and that's where I'm at the minute.
As always, thanks for your time, Michael.
Cheers, thanks.